Right. That's my
But
number one principle
yeah,
actually in my book is don't start something today. You cannot do the rest of your life. I have 10 lifestyle principles and that's my first one because I just believe if it's not sustainable, you shouldn't start it today because it will backfire. You can simply ask the question, can I do this every day till I'm 85 years old? Yes or no. If not, don't start it. It doesn't mean don't do something that's going to require discipline like meal prepping, but I mean something that deep down is not right, but you're just so hoping to get the results so quickly because we live in this dopamine hijacked world that's like,
welcome back to PCOS Unfiltered, where we go beyond the diagnosis and start asking deeper questions about our health, our habits, and the messages our bodies are trying to send us. I'm your host, Lindsie, nurse turned health coach, mindful eating advocate, and author of Healing Beyond the Diagnosis. Today's episode is such an important conversation because we're talking about something that so many women struggle with, but rarely feel safe talking about openly: our relationship with food, our bodies, and the pressure to constantly follow the next best health trend. My guest today is Laura Heflin. Laura is a holistic nutrition and wellness consultant, author, and host of the Live Healthy with Laura podcast. Through her work, she helps people rebuild trust with their bodies, reconnect with nourishing foods, and step away from the rigid, fear-based approaches to health that so many women have been taught. Laura's journey into this work is deeply personal. After experiencing major health challenges from a young age, including surgery, hormonal imbalances, cystic acne, an eating disorder, depression, miscarriages, and eventually a diagnosis of adrenal PCOS, she found herself searching for answers beyond what traditional medicine alone was offering. Through years of learning, healing, and listening more closely to her own body, Laura discovered something powerful. The body often knows exactly what it needs, but we've been conditioned to stop listening. In this episode, we talk about Laura's journey through eating disorder recovery, hormonal healing, PCOS, miscarriages, and chronic symptoms that didn't make sense at first. We also dive into intuitive eating, the dangers of rigid diet culture, the role of stress and the nervous system in hormone health, and how learning to trust your body can transform the way you approach food, energy, and healing. This conversation is full of powerful reminders that your body is not the enemy. Healing is not linear, and sometimes the most important step in your health journey is learning how to listen again. As a reminder, the content shared on PCOS Unfiltered is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guest are not intended to serve as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or treatment plan. The information shared is based on personal experience and expert interviews and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Laura Heflin. So with the intuitive eating, maybe personally or even, whatever you see with your clients, but what are kind of some of the mindset shifts that you see, like I said, going back to your story or maybe that you've seen with your clients as far as that journey of, do they wake up every day and say, okay, do they follow that and say, what does my body need today? I'm sure there's some ups and downs along the way. Kind of what's the mindset shifts that need to happen during
So
that?
I think we have to be careful to not, we need to plan and then not over plan. And so what I mean by that is we don't want to become so rigid that we're not able to change something up in our day, but we do want to have a plan in place because what happens is our life gets very busy and chaotic. All of ours do, right? And so we want to take away something called decision fatigue within the middle of our week. And so I do map out my entire week on Fridays as I'm making my grocery list and making my meal plan. I mean, intuitively, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to be inching towards my cycle next week. So I should be adding in some more iron, more red meat, some more grounded root vegetables to give you energy. So I intuitively will meal plan my lunches and our dinners and my breakfasts, though, stay about the same. And so I think for me, I like to be as simple as possible. So if I know one breakfast helps me feel my best, I will play on the weekend when I have more time and make gluten-free French toast or something, but I am like, my breakfast looks the same. I'm happy to tell you what that is if you want, but it's just one of those things that I feel like if you can take out the guesswork, you should, but you should never be so rigid that you're not able to change it up within that day. For instance, if I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow's meal sounds better today for dinner, I'm going to switch it up. I don't know, it just intuitively sounds better. I'll swap the days. I think we need to be not overly rigid because that's the diet culture speaking, where that really that cortisol starts to rise and we feel like a failure if we don't stick to the plan. So I think yeah, I mean, I think be intuitive when you're meal planning, but then give yourself that flexibility to say, I don't know, for some reason today, I don't know, an organic pear sounds better than organic blackberries with my breakfast. It's okay to like change up your fruits and vegetables, you know what I mean? So, but then of course have your list. I actually have a file in my phone where I keep certain foods that my body is triggered by just so I never forget. And so I think it's important to say, like, look, I am going to be very intentional to not stack too many high histamine foods in a day. I'm just not. And so that means I'm going to be thinking about when I'm meal planning, okay, I'm having histamine in this one meal, so I'm not going to have it the rest that day. I hope that answers your question, but it's it's like planned but not rigid.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think that does. That's very helpful. I feel like listeners would find that very helpful too, because again, like even like we were talking about the calorie count and the macro counting and all that stuff, it's the same, same thing. You don't want to stress yourself out more by
No. And
thinking,
and one day you're not going to be as hungry and you won't require as much energy input. And then the next day you might be more hungry. And then if you don't listen to what your body's asking of you, your metabolic thermostat will slow down. And so I think one thing that I help a lot of people with weight loss, but it's like their metabolism has been suppressed for so long because of these plans that did not allow them to listen to their body. And so I think one thing people don't get when it comes to even weight loss or just hormone balance is your body actually loves flexibility. That actually keeps your metabolism on its toes. When you're eating the same thing every day, your metabolism slows down. That's why bodybuilders do something called carb cycling. They literally challenge their metabolism. And so it will speed back up, and so I think we have to understand that like weight loss, healthy blood pressure, glowing skin, healthy gut, all of that's a natural side effect to just listening to your body day in and day out.
yeah. And I think you said something important there too about kind of thinking about where you are in your cycle when you're planning out
Oh,
some of that
100%.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, we should not be eating this exact same way. In fact, I like literally can't. I don't feel good eating the exact. I mean, like I said, my breakfast always seem to be about the same. But then, which is eggs and scrambled in avocado oil with red mince salt, organic pepper. I do organic berries every day, but then I'll swap it out with either a pear or in the winter or banana or melon in the summer. But like, I'm always having fruit and eggs. But then, after that, it's like I right now I'm eating a lot of root veggies, for where I am in my cycle. That's what I prepped on purpose. And I need the more energy, a little more glucose as your energy can tank around ovulation or before your cycle. And so I think we need to eat seasonally as well. And all of that helps. But yeah, like we shouldn't that's the importance of trusting your body and knowing what makes you feel good. And I think I mean, I've had people say like, "Oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that." I'm like, "Well, have you asked your body if you can?" They're so afraid of whatever it is because it's been demonized in our culture, but maybe it would make them feel amazing. You know what I mean? Like maybe you do need grass-fed butter.
Yeah.
Maybe that was actually something that helped heal my hormones is adding healthy fats back in. I was so deprived of that. My cholesterol was ridiculously low where I wasn't able to make hormones. So it's just, yeah, it's not hard, but it is hard in our world that tells us we can't listen to ourselves, if that makes sense. We're kind of gaslit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that takes me right to the next question. Why,
Mhm.
why do you think that is? Why do you think we've kind of been conditioned, not to ask those important questions about our health?
Um, you have to follow the money. And I really mean that because if you look at our ancestors 100 years ago, then none of this existed. They lived off the farm. They went to bed when it was dark. They They socialized face to face. They lived in a way that, disease was not where it is today. I mean, I'm not saying of course we had some hard times and saying I'd want to go back then, but I will say like you have to follow the money because any trend, if you look in the past 30 years, not only have 99.9% of them failed and come with a lot of court cases down the road, but they are literally programming you to follow their program. Like they're programming your brain to think you're a failure if you don't follow their program. And they're programming you to tune out your body. So, and I use this example all the time because this is something that is reoccurring. I have women or people message me, clients of mine, hey, Laura, this is what I ate today. Did I eat too much? Okay. And I'll say the words back to them, I don't know because I don't live in your vessel. So I want you to ask yourself that. And it's not me not trying to help them. I want them to actually take ownership and actually know they're allowed to ask themselves questions. And it's almost like they are so used to not trusting because the diet industry is going to every day deliver you a new plan of what you should be doing. No, I should not be cold plunging. I don't care how many people tell me I should. I will never. I will not. It's not good for me. I will not run. I hate running. So I don't care what's trending anymore. Now I'm so like I like know what my body likes and doesn't like, and I do not care. But there was a time where I was like, what's the next? Okay, what's she doing? What's he doing? Like, and so I think again, it's follow the money. Again, our health quote quote health industry does not make money off of your clarity. It doesn't make money off of you knowing what your body needs. It makes money off of your confusion. It makes money off of you believing without their plan or their product, you will fail. And that is not how God made us. I believe we can ask God for wisdom every day, and you can trust your body to guide you.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, I agree. We'll just leave
Or
it there.
I get fired up.
No, I
I
mean, I
just
just because I was there. I mean, I've seen that side of it, and from being a nurse, and it's unfortunate, and I've said this on other podcasts. I'm like, I'm not here to bash because I do think there might be a time and place. I mean, there's obviously definitely a time and place if it's a true emergency, right?
sure.
But as far as more chronic conditions, there still
Mm-hmm.
might be time and place, but at the same time, it needs to be more of a bridge instead of
Mm-hmm.
the final solution. Where yes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe learning more
Mm-hmm.
about nutrition and intuitive eating while you're still taking that medication because that's not what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Right. That's my
But
number one principle
yeah,
actually in my book is don't start something today you cannot do the rest of your life. I have 10 lifestyle principles and that's my first one because I just believe if it's not sustainable, you shouldn't start it today because it will backfire. You can simply ask the question, can I do this every day till I'm 85 years old? Yes or no. If not, don't start it. It doesn't mean don't do something that's going to require discipline like meal prepping, but I mean something that deep down is not right, but you're just so hoping to get the results so quickly because we live in this dopamine hijacked world that's like if you're not getting them quickly, you're failing. Again, that's wrong. But ask yourself that question, can I do this every day the rest of my life? And the answer is pretty simple. And normally
yeah, I love that. So how do you help clients balance, personal responsibility, body trust, grace, especially when healing doesn't follow a straight line? I mean, we talked about that, the ups and downs with your journey, and I'm sure you see that, with your clients. So how do you really help them balance all that?
you mean like the setbacks that come with
Yeah.
a real health journey.
Hmm.
Yeah, health is not linear. And here I am working, doing what I do and doing what I love, and I still have setbacks. And I still have amazing people like my dear acupuncturist friend Sherry and my holistic practitioner Karen that help me stay strong because there's sometimes questions as intuitive as I am that I need help with. In fact, the wellness clinic I work at, I found after long COVID, I was so sick. And even though I was still helping people myself and working with my own company and my dad's practice, I needed help in a different way. So, um, here's the thing. The moment we let go of the timeline and we trust our body to do what it will in its right time, in the timing that works best for it, it will all pay off. We have to not put a timeline on our bodies. We have to understand that It's not going to always be a salmon upstream, right? We're not going to always feel like that, but it's not going to always be like a downhill either. Like we're going to have great days, and then we're going to have days where, you know what? I think I feel a little off today, and I'm going to pause. I'm not going to freak out, but I'm going to ask why. Again, this is back to the body scan that I teach of let's pause and ask why. This is functional medicine. This is what they believe. This is what I love about functional medicine is there's a reason. So I think we need to stop labeling setbacks as failures, and we need to recognize it as it's just a stepping stone. And there is going, I believe we can learn from every setback. So, every year I'm learning different things about my health. Something recently, which was so humbling, was I was overdoing mineral water. I was drinking all this mineral water in these beautiful blue glass bottles. But due to my methylation issues with my gene mutations, like I started feeling anxious. And I had to be like, what the heck is happening to me? Okay, Laura, pause. What is one thing you changed? Oh, you've been chugging that mineral water. Maybe a little too many heavy metals at one time, maybe too many minerals at one time. Didn't mean mineral water was bad, but I was overdoing it. So I'm very humble, and I no longer look at it as I'm a failure when I have a hard day. I think the more we relax around health, first of all, cortisol is equals chronic inflammation. It keeps weight on us. It gives us the results we don't want. So the more you relax and just let health flow, be a willow tree, not an oak tree, and understand every setback comes with a beautiful lesson, and it will actually propel you forward. Just embrace it. You'll realize, okay, it's all okay. It's all okay. And if I hadn't had the setback, I wouldn't be 10 steps ahead where I am now. So I look at it as a blessing. And I think we have to reframe, and we have to break up with timelines. And we have to know that true results that last typically do require setbacks, and they do take time. But the results are so rewarding that, just embrace the process. It's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, I tell my clients about staying off the scale, I mean,
Yeah.
that alone, especially like when you think you're doing all the right things, right?
Mm, mm-hmm,
But the scale's not moving. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
knock it off. If you're feeling better, that's all you need to know.
Well, we have to acknowledge body composition, and we have to acknowledge the more you actually eat well and you're picking up weights, you're going to be replacing adipose, fat, visceral fat with muscle, lean muscle mass. And that's not going to always, again, this is, I think we're graduating to a point where we're like farther. I mean, I think I weigh myself maybe once a month, and not even then sometimes. Not that I have it doesn't identify, I have no identity connected to it anymore. Really, I don't, but I used to. I had to throw it out for a long time. I had to really be careful with that. But I think we need to realize you are after energy, you are after feeling good, you are after having vitality right within you. And if you are feeling good, you are doing better than 93% of the population that metabolically is malfunctioning right now if you are feeling good. So, I mean, if you have energy, that's huge. That says a lot about how you're doing at a cellular level. We need to start celebrating other aspects of health, not numbers. And I really will say this, it's my clients that I've relaxed, like we talked about, that weigh themselves less often, that start to trust their body and what it's asking of them, that the weight loss actually happens naturally. But they're like, oh, I haven't weighed myself all month. I feel good, but I don't know. And they get on the scale if they choose to at my office, and they're like, wow, I didn't even stress about it all month. And like, look, 4 or 5 pounds is gone, and I'm feeling better than ever, but I didn't think about it. And so again, it's that cortisol component, and just learning to
Exactly.
trust the process. And again, we have to start celebrating feeling good. It can't just be about a number, because I can tell you right now, I weighed 20 pounds less, and I was the most miserable I'd ever been in my entire existence. And I would not wish that what I went through physically, mentally, or hormonally on my worst enemy. So I grateful to be strong today.
Yeah, yeah. And truly, if the goal is weight loss for somebody, it becomes a side
Mhm.
effect, just of
A
feeling better.
natural side effect. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's that
yeah,
domino effect that occurs when you love and care for your body and your nervous system. Like If you feel rigid all the time around, okay, it's time to eat, and now I'm scared of food, and because I don't know if I'm going to do it right, am I going to eat too much? Am I going to not eat enough? Like, just relax, trust your body. And it's like riding a bike or learning another foreign language. You're going to eventually be able to pick it up and understand, oh, I know what that cue means. Oh, I know when my body says to stop. Oh, I know, you know what I mean? And so it's like, that wasn't that hard. And then all the noise of the health space, you kind of can just like leave, take it or leave it, but it kind of fizzles out.
Yeah, yeah. As we kind of start to wrap up, what would you say, like, what's one kind of powerful reframe or question that any listener could start asking today to make that shift in their healing journey?
Um, I think we have to know what our purpose is. And what I mean that is, okay, if this is only about the scale, of course you're going to in your own version, you know, a lot of people say the word fail, you're not going to be successful because you're not living for something greater than you. I believe that one of my biggest driving factors for myself and for my clients has been discovering what they were put on God's green earth for. Like God put you on this earth for a purpose, on purpose. You are not a mistake. And whatever that purpose is, it's going to require energy. And so if you have that target to focus on every day, for me, I have many purposes, but like being an amazing wife and mom is one of them, right? Being a great podcast host, being a great friend, certain things that I'm like, I really want to do my best in this area. So I know I need to feel this way to perform this way. I think when we remember why we're here, and if you don't know and you're listening, just pray and ask God. You will feel it one day. You will get that green, like that aha moment, like I did that day I was eating lasagna. Okay, I'm meant to help people reframe their relationship with food and their bodies. You know, once you get to that place, it's like I can't afford to feel anything but my best. So no longer do you want to give in to fads that will deprive you of energy. Now you're hungry for energy. Now the goal is energy. So the goal
Mhm.
is to feel your best so you can go out and be the hands and feet of Jesus. That is my testimony. That is my mission. I can't show up, and I've tried to show up, believe me, depleted, hormonally out of whack, exhausted and depressed. Nobody liked that version. Nobody liked that version of me. So I think when you remember why you're here and who you're showing up for, you you have so much drive, and it makes it less about a silly number on the scale and more about you having the umph inside of you to live out your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually just having this conversation with somebody else too. I mean, because it strengthens your, your relationship, maybe your marriage, your
Oh,
friendships, your,
100%.
your kids, like
Yeah, and
whatever.
it's contagious.
Hmm. It is, it
Yeah.
is.
And people
Uh,
start to say, wait, something's different about you. Maybe
ex
there's hope for me. You know,
exactly.
maybe you can teach me. It is contagious over
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. Last question is
Yes.
where can people find you and connect with you? And you have how many books?
I have four. I have four books. They're behind me. I have my first one is Live Healthy with Laura. My second one is Mama You Still Matter, a mom's guilt-free guide to physical, mental, spiritual self-care. My third is A Glass Half Full. It's all about perspective and mental health, tuning into God's truth, how it can change your perspective, change your life. My most recent, I have, let's see, I think I have a copy right here. So I'm very proud of this project. Getting it out of the package. So I just had a shipment delivered. It is Just Jump. So it's upside down. Just Jump. It's an overthinker's guide to getting unstuck, gaining traction, and taking chances. So I do talk about intuitive living in here, absolutely, because we will be stuck if we're just turning everybody else's voice up and not our own, and not God's voice. So yeah, that's all about motivation. And that can be physically, mentally, spiritually, professionally, any which way you want to use this book in your life. I hope it will bless you. But yeah, and then my podcast is the Live Healthy with Laura podcast. It is on Apple and Spotify. I have an episode every Monday. I'm about to hit 200 in about 10 episodes, so I'm very excited. It's been like, let's see, 3.5 years now, I think. So this coming August will be 4 years, and it's just been a passion project of mine, that I love. I do work with clients one on one. So you can find all that information, I do virtual and in person, livehealthywithlaura.com. My podcast again is the Live Healthy with Laura podcast, and my books are all on all platforms online, wherever books are sold. So
Awesome. And of course, I'll link all that in the show notes as well.
yes,
But
and you're coming on my podcast soon, so
yeah,
I'm excited.
yeah. So stay tuned, everybody. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story
Oh my
and
gosh, thanks for having me.
yeah, just being vulnerable and sharing your knowledge. And I think our listeners can really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, I hope so. Yes. Well, God bless you all. Thank you for listening today.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCOS Unfiltered. I hope this conversation with Laura encourages you to take a step back from all the noise in the health world and start reconnecting with the one voice that matters most, your own body. One of my favorite takeaways from this episode is the reminder that healing doesn't come from chasing every new trend or forcing yourself into rigid rules. It often begins with slowing down, paying attention, and asking simple but powerful questions like, how do I actually feel? What is my body trying to tell me? Your health journey doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to follow a straight line, and it certainly doesn't have to look like anyone else's. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, take a screenshot and tag us on social media, or leave a review so more women can find these conversations and begin reconnecting with their own bodies as well. You can connect with Laura through her website, livehealthywithlaura.com, listen to her podcast, Live Healthy with Laura, and check out her books, including her newest release, Just Jump, an Overthinker's Guide to Getting Unstuck. I'll make sure all of those links are included in the show notes for you. And as always, remember, your body is not broken, your symptoms are not random, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your health is learn to trust yourself again. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next episode of PCOS Unfiltered. Nourish, heal, thrive.